Hey, it is Mike Matthews. I am, like you, someone in this world of being able to access data so quickly. And we yearned for years and years and years when the computer first reared its head. Oh, I can't wait that I'll be able to access all this data, all this stuff that's been saved on hard drives everywhere and servers, and I can access it whenever I want. And then time went by and we didn't have that for a long time. And then suddenly one day there was a Google, and then there was an Apple, and there was somehow these little devices called smartphones, and then there was apps that you could go in and you could access things whenever you wanted. It makes some people really annoying because you'll say something like, I think it's that, and then they go and look it up for you instantly, and then they tell you, and you really didn't want to know what it was that they were looking up, but hey, thank you. Anyway, Café Anyway, we're about to go in there. Let's go in right now. Oh, but I went down the rabbit hole before we go into Café Anyway, like you can often do with all this information at your fingertips, and it was about Aerosmith. What is the last big song Aerosmith had? Was it I Don't Want to Miss a Thing? Nope. It was actually Jaded was their biggest last song. And then ever since then, they've released many singles, and they didn't quite. You're like, which one is Jaded? Hey, Jaded. That was that. So I went and read everything about Aerosmith, about how their last single that they ever released, their last album, was like in 2013, and that they were at one time the biggest band on the planet. We forget all of that. The 90s were very, very good to that band. And for that matter, in the beginning, when they released the song in the 70s, Sweet Emotion, and the Dream On song, those songs still get played all the time and show up in all these different movies. So a moment of remembrance for the band called Aerosmith. And I don't think that roller coaster that Disney made in Florida, that rock and roller coaster that features Aerosmith songs, I don't think it's going to be with us much longer. So just remembering them. All right, now that we've done that, let's go into Café Anyway. Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2955. What? I've done a lot of these. It's Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Somewhere in PodCastro Valley, where we're coming up close to my birthday. People are going to, maybe they'll say happy birthday, Mike. It's great that you're getting older and getting more gray. It's getting more gray, this beard thing. Forget about it.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
There's this little tiny bit of brown in my mustache. The brown part of what my hair
Mike's
used to be.
Daily
Now
Podcast.
it's sailed.
Yeah.
This will be probably the last year. We'll see. But you know what? That's good. That's good because it's called I'm getting older and moving forward. Hey, Brandy Carlisle and Elton John have done a song together. And I don't know if Brandy's put on some weight. I should talk. I am the one to talk. I am talking. Mike talks. I could stand to lose a few pounds. I got to tell my lovely lady friend not to bring me those maple scones from Cafe Rumi in PodCastro Valley. But Brandy Carlisle, when she gets a little heavy, looks like Steve Bannon. I don't know if that's a thing, that's a compliment or what, but Elton John and her have done a new song, I was told. And Gwen Stefani has released a new album. It's called Bouquet, and it has kind of this country influence, but it sounds more like when Jewel was doing country, that kind of sound. So there you go. Those are great things to be happy about amidst all the other stuff in this world. So I heard about this thing, Saturday Night Live. I don't really watch it much anymore, but they did a thing on, not the most recent one, but I think the previous one, where they were trying to...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Avoid Trump going after them by saying, hey, we didn't really mean it. That kind of thing. They, they did have an episode before the election that had Kamala, the actual Kamala Harris there, not just Maya Rudolph imitating Kamala Chameleon. Why? See, if they would have released a redo of that song, she would have won. The late great Basil the Boxer, however, disagrees. Let's do a podcast picture of the late great Basil the Boxer. That's great. We haven't done that in a while. Here, you can see that at mikesdailypodcast.com. So they began that Saturday Night Live after the election with a message powered by sarcasm. We have been with you all along. They opened the show by striking a subdued chord. Is it Ego Nwadin? One of the cast members reflected on the presidential vote, noting that many viewers considered the results shocking and even horrifying. Donald Trump, who tried to forcibly overturn the results of the last election, was returned to the office by an overwhelming majority, Heidi Gardner said, with Kenan Thompson continuing, this is the same Donald Trump who openly called for vengeance against his political enemies. Then Bowen Yang, one of the cast members, chimed in to say that now, thanks to the Supreme Court, there are no guardrails. Before Kenan Thompson flipped the mood entirely, turning to false flattery. That is why we at SNL would like to say to Donald Trump, we've been with you all along.
This is interesting.
Wow, this is interesting.
And then Yang apparently added, the team was so excited for Trump 2.0. Regular watchers of the show, known for its irreverent comedy and political comedy, will know that the cast has not supported Trump, frequently ridiculing the Republican who is set to return to the White House. And this was all from the people at the Washington Post, who, as you will recall, would not endorse Kamala Harris. They weren't allowed to by Jeff Bezos, who owns them. The cast satirical U-turn came as world leaders who previously criticized Trump.
Mike, you're such a creative soul.
All right.
I am not that creative. Well, I guess I am a creative. I'm creating this at the moment. But the cast satirical U-turn came as world leaders who previously criticized Trump are also contending with their past comments, preparing for a new phase of their relationship with the United States. It is interesting, when Biden had Trump over last week, he had him over. It was a slumber party. No, he had him over in that room with all the hot fire going in the background, because old people need the fires hot. It'll be true of you too. Don't worry, as I am on my way there. But Trump said, politics, he said something to, I'm paraphrasing now, but I think he said something like politics can be nasty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Politics can be awful, but the world can be bad. I think he said politics can be bad, really bad, but now today is good. So in his, that sort of streamlined talk, kind of like when Frankenstein talks, the monster talks, a la Phil Hartman, a la Saturday Night Live, it will sound like politics bad, friendship good. So I just hate it. This year has just sucked with all this political back and forth and just nastiness. But Elon Musk had to chime in. He said SNL is so mad that Trump won, and he slammed Dana Carvey's impression. Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery?
Right? God.
Not for Elon. Oh, there's the Cecily Strong from Saturday Night Live. Not for Elon Musk, at least when it comes to Saturday Night Live. The Tesla CEO who hosted SNL in 2021 slammed the show on social media the day after Dana Carvey debuted an impression of Elon Musk. Ooh, I have not seen this yet. He said SNL has been dying slowly for years as they become increasingly out of touch with reality. Wow. Hey, oh, and by the way, I totally cannot take a joke. This should be the sincerest form of flattery to have the Dana Carvey, who imitated Biden most recently, and George Herbert Walker Bush eons ago, as we go outside a Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in podCastro Valley, in the last place on earth, in the land of Ameritopica. My mom, who despised Biden, who despised Nancy Pelosi, who loved Trump, loved Dana Carvey. You cannot even hold a candle to his church lady. It was amazing, some of the impressions he did. Their last-ditch effort to cheat the equal airtime requirements and prop up Kamala before the election only helped sink her campaign further, he said. After Harris's appearance, NBC had to file notice
pretty interesting.
with the Federal Communications Commission, said it would provide Republican nominee Donald Trump equal time. The former president addressed viewers during a NASCAR Cup playoff race that aired on the network the following day. That's how they took care of that. Speaking of video and things that are televised via video, I'm videoing this right now, my beautiful bald head, my gray beard, and there's this odd framing around me that includes sea creatures, and you can see this at mikesdailypodcast.com. There might even be some chowder around here. He says, Dana Carvey just sounds like Dana Carvey. Well, Elon Musk, you basically just talk really fast because of whatever it is. I think you have a little bit of the tism, and you just have that kind of very normal type of voice. So sorry, you're too normal for him to do a good impression of you. Anyway, Café Anyway, that's been going on. Oh, and did you get any of this? We didn't address any of this. Alexandria Ocasio.
And the Oscar goes to
Mike Matthews for catching all these bizarre stories. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez directly addressed the people who voted for both her and Trump. This according to HuffPost. She, of course, the Democrat from New York. She reflected on Donald Trump's success in the election and engaged with supporters on social media to try to unpack the thinking that led to it. The progressive lawmaker who cruised to re-election in New York's 14th congressional district, thank you, because she's not afraid to work. We played that clip many times from the Democratic National Convention. Noted that many House Democrats outperformed the top of their ticket. In her district, voters swung towards Trump.
Revenge is a dish best served cold. You think about
Trump
that.
is experiencing some revenge for sure. However, the stock market that did so well the first week that right after the election tanked last week. So, well, so much for that. Don't know if he's going to be bragging that much about that. In her district, voters swung towards Trump by a substantial margin compared to how they voted when the president-elect faced Joe Biden in 2020. Where are the Democrats going, hey, if Democrats voted for Ocasio-Cortez, then they must have voted for Kamala. Somebody went into the voting machines and changed all the Kamala Harris votes to Trump. It's a conspiracy. Where are the Democrats screaming that? Gosh. Yeah, I bring it up because it was brought up by every Republican talk show radio host for the past 4 years, and I didn't like it. I heard it way too much in theory after theory after theory, all wrong. So he wins. The Democrats, except for a couple that say that it was Elon Musk with Starlink, they were quiet. So Ocasio-Cortez wants to know why. Let's do this right now, she said. If you voted for Donald Trump and me, or if you voted for Donald Trump and voted Democratic down ballot, I would really love to hear from you. On her Instagram story. This is not a place of
Mike,
judgment.
you want to join in on this conversation? You can join in.
I can join in? I'm going to join in. Let's join in. Because we want to know. It's not a place of judgment. I'm not going to put your stuff on blast or anything like that or dunk on it. She said, do I sound hip? Quoting Ocasio-Cortez with her cool lingo. That's genuinely not the intent here. I actually want to learn from you. I want to hear what you were thinking. She posted some of the responses that she got with the caption, I'm listening. Let's see. It's really simple. Trump and you care for the working class, said one person. Want to change, so I went with Trump and blue for the rest of the ballot to put some brakes. And I've heard that over and over again. And to me, that makes sense.
Live and loco.
It is live and loco, and we have a loco world in which we live in. But yes, that makes sense. Voted Trump, but see, that should be a warning to Republicans who think that everybody voted for Republicans. No, a lot of people still don't like you. A lot of people still don't like the rhetoric that they heard that was so angry towards minorities, etc., etc. So they didn't want it. They still wanted Ocasio-Cortez in there to keep an eye on Trump, I guess. So that's right. That's what America is. We vote for things when things are going. A lot of people were like, "Hey, what the heck? Why is inflation going up?" Now, with Trump as president, here's one person that said, "I feel Trump and you are both real." These are some ridiculous random posts. Voted for Trump in Arizona, but voted for Dem Rubin instead of Carrie Lake because taught he's good handling war. All right. Trump has said that he doesn't want war, which is very fascinating. My lovely lady friend and I were talking about that, about why are Republicans, so that, because I know a lot of Republicans that don't agree. They're war hawks, a lot of the Republicans I know. Heck, so this one show that I've heard and said the crazy comment, and they're all about guns is their show. They were saying that the reason why the Democrats lost was because they weren't listening to the voters. And because they don't listen to the voters, that's the sign of someone who needs a call, needs a friend to call up. The modem needs to call them up and tell them, hey, you're a narcissist because you don't listen to people, because you don't realize you've made a mistake and you keep making the mistake. You don't ever admit to your mistakes, which you know exactly who that sounds like. That's the guy who's going to be our next president. Oh, and thank you for that, everyone that voted for him. He is going to be our next president, and he is saying, you're hired to everybody he thinks loves him or said anything nice about him. He remembers, or he's got someone who's writing down the names of, hey, this guy said something nice about you. This woman said something nice about you. And so he is saying, you're hired. So he's, at this moment, being anti-Trump. He's flipped around. He's bizarro Trump, and he's hiring. But you know what's going to happen.
But if you get offended, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Sorry if this offends. But you know, because I was there, you were there if you were alive 5 years ago, if you're 5 years old, this is amazing. I have a 5-year-old listener right now. I'm very pleased. But yes, 5 years ago, he was firing people like crazy. He fires people like that. So, you know, it was his basis of his show, The Apprentice. So, which, by the way, that movie that came out that was supposed to be all like controversial, that came out just before the election. Did you hear a single thing about it? I heard one person talk about it, and they were talking about it. It was on some stupid classic rock station, and they were like, "Oh, there's some nudity in it, woohoo!" And then, you know, that classic rock kind of idiocy. But nothing came from that. So the point is, election officials knocked down the Starlink vote rigging conspiracy theories.
Daily podcast master pod eater.
Okay. Oh, zounds! I am a Democrat, and the person I voted for did not win. I am crying and full of sorrow. I fall down flat to the ground and beg the skies for an answer. Thank you. Where were we? Oh, as presidential-elect President-elect Donald Trump begins filling key posts in his second administration, saying, "You're hired, you're hired, you're hired." Social media users are pushing false claims that the 2024 election was rigged in his favor. And here we go with the blue anons. One such narrative claims that billionaire Elon Musk facilitated the alleged fraud with his internet service provider Starlink, manipulating the vote count through election equipment such as ballot tabulators. Starlink, a subsidiary of Musk's SpaceX company, uses satellites to offer high-speed internet even in remote areas. Some rural counties used the technology during the 2024 race.
Fair and unbalanced.
See, it was a fair and unbalanced election. This according to WPXI. Some rural counties used the technology during the 2024 race to access their electronic poll books. So this is the method behind this madness. Here's a closer look at the facts. Claim: billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk used his internet provider Starlink to steal the 2024 election for President-elect Donald Trump. The facts. These claims are unfounded. See? Blue Anon, it's not going to work for you. It didn't work for QAnon. It just annoyed people like me to hear it over and over again for 4 years. And they're still going to say it into the sunset, over the horizon, till we can't see anymore and it fades to black. Zounds! These claims are unfounded. Election officials, including from multiple swing states, told the Associated Press that their voting equipment doesn't use...
absolutely useless review.
This is my review of all this stupid conspiracy stuff. Told the Associated Press that their voting equipment does not use Starlink and is not even connected to the internet. States have additional security measures to ensure that the count is accurate. Election officials and security agencies have reported no significant issues with the 2024 race. David Becker, founder and executive director of the Center for Election Innovation and Research, said it is not possible that Starlink was used to hack or change the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. This quite simply did not happen and could not happen thanks to the security measures we have in place. And these conspiracy theories echo other disinformation we've heard over the past several years. He further explained that the country's nearly 10,000 election jurisdictions use a wide range of voting machines that are not connected to the internet while voting occurs, and that nearly all votes are recorded on paper ballots, which are audited by hand to confirm the results of election tabulators.
Someone a new one.
So stop thinking like this. I must rip you for this. If anyone tried to interfere with the machines to rig the elections, it would be discovered through multiple means, including reconciling the registered voters who cast ballots with the number of votes, as well as the audits. Certain jurisdictions in a few states allow for ballot scanners in polling locations to transmit unofficial results using a mobile private network after voting has ended on election day, and the memory cards containing the vote tallies have been removed. Election officials who allow this say it provides for faster reporting of unofficial election results on election night. They say the paper records of the ballots cast are used to authenticate the results during post-election reviews, and that those records would be crucial to a recount if one were needed. Computer security experts have said this is unnecessary. This is an unnecessary risk.
Now, a big thanks to our sponsor.
And should be prohibited. Oh, and a big thanks to our sponsor today. Our sponsor today is cages that hold little babies, dolls. Why would you put a doll in a cage? Why are you afraid of the doll, even though it is scary like the Twilight Zone and you saw a bunch of them around Halloween this year? Take those baby dolls out of those cages. And thank you for your sponsorship. I made 0 cents from that sponsor. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency Director Jen Esterly said November 6th that the CISA had no evidence of any malicious activity that had a material impact on the security or integrity of our election infrastructure. So with all that evidence not existing, social media suggested that Starlink could indeed have been used to steal the election. And there's a bunch of
We have
idiots,
a knight who say, "Nee."
including the knights that say "nee." Let's see. Pamela Smith, president of the CEO of Verified Voting, agreed that the idea that Starlink was used to rig the election is absurd. While Starlink provided connectivity in a number of jurisdictions for electronic poll books, or EPBs, in this election, neither Starlink nor other types of communication networks play any role in counting votes. Our elections produce huge quantities of physical evidence. A satellite system like Starlink cannot steal that. Outside a Café Anyway, somewhere in PodCastro Valley, look who's here. Oh my God, this is Chely Shoehart, the gift shop supervisor. Wow, there was some like big boxing match or something and someone lost. Yes, somebody lost. Jake Paul won. Mike Tyson lost. And Jake Paul's a big Trump supporter. So I don't know if that was something like Democrats were hoping, hey, Mike Tyson beat the Trump Republican Jake Paul. That didn't happen. So far, Republicans winning, blah, 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 all over the place, blah, 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 except for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's position. One last thing. So we mentioned Elon Musk. He has renewed calls to defund NPR after a clip of CEO resurfaces on X. Your tax dollars are paying for this. He renewed a call on Tuesday to defund NPR after a controversial video of its CEO. Of the CEO questioning the importance of truth. Footage of NPR CEO Catherine Maher from August of 2021. It was a TED Talk. Oh, I hate TED Talks. Because they try to act all cutesy and knowledgeable, and it just smacks of elitism. And there's a guy this is going around, this audio of this guy that was at the, whatever that big environmental conference is.
There's something wrong. No.
He didn't say that, but he said that, well, he basically said that about people eating meat, and that people need meat patches, like a smoker's patch to get you off of smoking. You need to put a patch on your shoulder to get you off of eating meat, because he wants the whole world to become vegetarian. That's not gonna go. Tell you right now, it ain't gonna fly in the U.S. Not for at least another 100 years. People are really into eating their meat. Well, I don't know if Catherine Maher eats meat. I bet a lot of people at NPR do not eat meat. Just thinking about that. But NPR CEO Catherine Maher said in August, 3 years ago, at a TED Talk, it was in a 10-second clip, she questioned the role of truth that plays in the industry. As she was then the CEO of Wikimedia, she took over as CEO of NPR this year, a couple months back. And I've heard a lot of negative things about her. I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done, she said. So Musk shared that clip to his 204.3 million followers with the caption, should your tax dollars really be paying...
The fact that they were correcting everything and not correcting with her.
When you look at the fact that they were correcting me on everything and not correcting her, it can mean only one of two things. Either they were biased against me, or I was just saying insane things that were wrong. Oh, God. Oh, is that it? Oh, no. Oh, did I say more factually untrue things? Oh, I owe a lot of people a lot of apologies.
He doesn't need to apologize to Elon. I call him Elon. They're doing quite well together. They were in that, what was that? Some kind of big black tie event tuxedo event he was at with Elon recently. Elon posted a picture of that. But Elon's dig is the latest in a month-long feud with the broadcasting organization that has Mayer at the helm. In April, the Tesla and SpaceX CEO posted a screenshot of a press inquiry asking Musk what his reaction was to more than 50 NPR accounts leaving X, to which he responded, defund NPR. And then days earlier, NPR announced that it would be dropping X over credibility concerns after the account was labeled state-affiliated media. Twitter later changed the outlet's label to government-funded media. Well, I'm not a huge fan of... I guess I'm on X as @MikeTalks. Occasionally, I will listen to NPR. I once applied for a job there. Actually, twice applied for a job there, and it didn't work out. But whatever. Cafe whatever. Do you think your tax dollar should go to NPR? 90% of what I hear on that station, I'm thinking, or on that network.
So my kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble.
Wow, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, that was not necessary. Nor do I think that being cruel to people like that. Hey, Kamala is a stepmom, and she just somehow neglected all that. So I don't know. And then she's defending someone who is not really known for their, how would you call it, humility. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Sarah. I'm sure she'll be governor of Arkansas for a while. At any rate, NPR, Sarah Huckabee, Elon Musk, we covered a lot, and we got to say hi to these guys real quick. Hello, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer, Mike. Sarah Huckabee sounds like she hates anybody that doesn't have kids. Yes. And she's living in a world that's increasingly becoming more people without kids. If you're in Russia, however, Putin wants people to, hey, if you're starting a family, if you're getting married, you need to have a couple kids. He doesn't want the one kid policy in Russia. And it's fascinating. I was talking to someone about this who has kids, about how we used to be living in a world in the 70s where we were so afraid of a population explosion. And yet now we have countries that are like, hey, we need to have we need to have a population explosion. It's strange how it all turns. What do you think about all that? Here's the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
Will you shut ups? Liberty Nation Freedom Phone for All.
This is William Sam. I think what Mike said was completely bunk. That's all I gotta say. Take it away, Mike. Thank you. It sounded like Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell. All right. Hey, everybody. If you want to find out all things having to do with Mike's Daily Podcast, follow me to the mainframe and we'll hear from A-Frame. Thanks for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.